I'm happy to share with you some insights on the life and times and the achievements of national hero, the Right Excellent Norman Washington Manley. The thing about Norman Manley, I believe, is that of all our heroes, he is perhaps the one that was most robustly prepared for national life. And I'll tell you why I say that. He was born on the Roxborough estate in southern Manchester, where the community would have known the heritage and the relationship with the Manley family going back for generations. So he would have had social stability and financial stability. Sometime in his youth, however, the family lost the estate. His father died, and then he became a part of a single-parent household where his mother was the breadwinner. They would have moved from Manchester and came into St. Catherine to live in the Spanish Town area of all places. And today, areas such as Featherbed Lane, Job Lane, Rivoli would have been places that were part of Norman Manley's stomping grounds as he was growing up. In fact, he first attended Beckford and Smith High School, which is now today known as the St. Jago High School, right there on Monk Street in Spanish Town. And at that time, the tall, young, lanky Norman Manley got into a lot of fights. As a matter of fact, initially, some historians say he was bullied, and then he became the bully. When he went to Jamaica College, as a matter of fact, he was often called out for truancy, and it was only on the pain of expulsion that he finally submitted to the rigors of discipline and conformed to scholarship and pursuing his academics with seriousness. Then his athletic prowess started to show. In fact, many of the track and field records at Jamaica College were made by Norman Manley, and it took many generations for some of them to be equaled or broken. He also became an academic star and focused on getting good grades and excelling in the arts and in the literatures and the sciences. These would have also helped his foundation when he pursued legal studies and ultimately became a barrister. Along the way, and as part of his professional development, Manley, like so many other Jamaican men did at the time, joined the war effort, fighting for the United Kingdom, or then colonial masters. During that period, he lost his brother during the war, and he would have been a part of experiencing a social upheaval in Europe, where many countries then had monarchies as their chief form of government, and after the war that changed and monarchies became the exception, and in its place was an awakening of socialism, of democracy, of transparency, of equality, and the pursuit of an egalitarian society. These would have impacted Norman Manley significantly. And when he came back to Jamaica, and in the early through the mid and late 30s, he would have been moving with people like O.T. Fairclough and other pioneers who collectively were very disappointed that almost a full 100 years had passed since slavery was abolished, yet the lot of life, the standard of living of the average Jamaican family had hardly changed for the better during that period. So there was a resistance, a rejection even of things as they were. And Norman Manley, along with some other persons, set around and went across the country studying the experience of the Jamaican family. Ultimately, that led on September 18, 1938 to the formation of the People's National Party, and of course Norman Manley was the founding president of the PNP. One of the things that he decided to pursue, and which I believe is an important example of the kind of leadership Manley believed in, was universal adult suffrage, so that every Jamaican, as long as they attained a certain age, were eligible to vote. And that brought more Jamaicans into the center of deciding on the way their own country and their lives, therefore, should be developed. Manley also famously championed what is now known as PEP, before that GSAT common entrance, which for the first time, based on aptitude alone, Jamaicans would submit to the same exam and have equal access to secondary education. That created a generation later the first native Jamaican middle class, and that was also a very important step on the ladder to national development. Manley also believed in collectivism as a socialist, and seeing how things were shaping up in Europe, he pursued the West Indies Federation. It was not successful, and it became a chief distinction that separated the approach of the People's National Party and the approach of the Jamaica Labour Party. In fact, his cousin, Sir Alexander Bustamante, was present at the launch of the People's National Party, and for many years was himself a member of the People's National Party. And that's an important bit of history for us to understand as to how both of those men, part of the Renaissance at the time, through different approaches, determined that there had to be achieved from this small island a great nation with people who were able to attain their full potential once the structural impediments of slavery and colonization were removed. And Norman Manley rather approached it through the creation of institutions like Jamaica Welfare, which is today known as the Social Development Commission, the foundation of the Jamaica Olympic Association, the Jamaica Boxing Association. These all have the Manley leadership DNA in them. And as far as the modernization of the Jamaican mindset towards independence, towards self-achievement and being able to say we are Jamaicans and we are proud of being Jamaicans, is as a result, I believe, of the classic style of leadership that Norman Manley invested in. It's a leadership that allows us, really, looking back since independence and even until now, to be able to say that in a rather short period of time relative to colonization, we are who we are, leaders in every sphere of life, not just here in Jamaica or in the Caribbean, but across the world.